it's Anya here at Our Gabled Home, where I like to share tips for a simple, beautiful, healthy, and sustainable living. And today I want to show you how you can make stinging nettle Spätzle. So let me talk about stinging nettle for a moment. If you're lucky enough, and I say this because I mean this, if you are lucky enough to have nettles growing in your yard, don't kill them. Don't think of them as weeds. They are so healthy. They can be cooked like spinach, just braised and steamed in a little bit of water. You can make pesto with them, and in today's video I want to show you how you can make these little tiny German dumplings called Spätzle. We say Spätzle in German. If you pronounce it a little bit more Americanized, it would be Spätzle. They're also really good fertilizer for your yard. I remember my grandfather used to make this tincture, if you will. He would have big barrels and add rainwater and then add nettles and let that sit for some weeks and use it as fertilizer for his yard, and he was absolutely convinced that that was miraculous. These are nettles. If you have them in your yard, great. In our area, we're actually finding them in the farmers market and farm stands, so people are liking them and people are thinking that they're not just really healthy, but they're also really delicious. Let me show you how you can make these Spätzle very easily. They're super simple to make, just a few steps, and I'll show you how to do that. The first thing we'll do is steam the nettles, and you don't want to touch them obviously because they're stinging nettles, and we want to steam so that we have about a cup of steamed nettles, so they'll actually fall and get much smaller than, so we'll just go ahead and put those in there. If you don't have a steamer basket, you can always use just boiling water and blanch them in boiling water. I like to steam them because I think that it doesn't leach all the vitamins and minerals out of the nettles as much. If you end up having a little bit too much, you can always make nettle pesto. Stay tuned for a recipe for that here and a video, because that is very delicious and I'll be making that soon. We'll put the lid on and let that steam for a little bit. I've taken the lid off and you can see how they've fallen in quite a bit. There's much less volume to the stinging nettles, and they're ready to be used. Now the basic recipe for nettle Spätzle is about 3 cups of flour, 3 eggs, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 cup steamed nettle, and 1 cup milk. So I'm going to just add all the ingredients into a high-speed blender. You can also mix these by hand and just chop up the nettles before. Add my flour. Grating fresh nutmeg into this. Add the salt, eggs, and I'll blend this up. I want to show you the consistency of my Spätzle dough. So it's really kind of thick and runny. And when I said the basic recipe, what happens is that, so I've been using spelt flour for this, and because it's a little bit difficult to exactly measure out 1 cup of the steamed nettle and your flour and all of that, it's a little bit more important to go by the consistency. So you can always add a little bit more milk or add a little bit more flour, and you can also make a test batch, and if the first batch doesn't quite come out the way you want it, you can always, again, add a little bit more milk or add a little bit more flour. So now we're ready to make the Spätzle. Now my water is boiling. I've added a little bit of salt to it, and all you do is you pour the Spätzle batter into here, and we'll just do a quick little batch here. And then you move this back and forth to make all the Spätzle fall in. And I like how it just sits right on top of your pot. And then you just boil them until they float to the top. If you don't have a Spätzle maker, or you don't want to invest in one and you're using a colander, you just use a spoon to push the Spätzle dough through the little holes. And here you can see they're already starting to float to the top. Just gonna let them be a little bit longer. I love the green color. I bet you could also make this with spinach if you don't have nettles, if you don't know where to get nettles. So we'll take them out now, so we'll let them drain the water out of them. And I have a cast iron skillet with a little bit of melted butter, so I'll add them to that. Kids always say, butter makes it better. You simply take them out, and then you just repeat the process until all the Spätzle are done. If you find after your first batch that the Spätzle are either too thin or not going through the holes the way you want it, you can always add, if they're too thin, a little bit more flour, or if they're too thick, you just add a little bit more milk. So it's very simple to adjust the batter as you go. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. If you're new on my channel, please subscribe. I upload videos every week. You can also hop on over to my blog at ourgabledhome.com, where I have more recipes and tips for a natural home. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you here next time.